All right. Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to join you. My name is Mick Connors. I'm a pediatric emergency physician and the founder and CEO of Anytime Pediatrics. So I know you heard a lot about telemedicine. Certainly been an interesting year and a half as folks have adopted virtual care. We just want to tell you a little bit about Anytime Pediatrics. Our mission is advancing innovation that strengthens relationships and elevates pediatric care. As I mentioned, I'm a pediatric emergency physician and really see the technology is a minor part of what we do. We're certainly a technology company, but we see that technology driving relationships, return on investment for your practice, efficiencies for your practice, and overall improved outcome. I'd say the center of our mission is the virtual visit is with my regular provider. So we're very passionate about the medical home. So just to learn a little bit about me, I'm a pediatric emergency physician, have been a doc for 25 years. I've been involved in clinical integration and population health. And so when we came about looking at virtual care and things coming like teledoc and random doc, really tried to understand as a pediatric emergency physician why we couldn't use technology to strengthen the medical home and keep kids connected. Because I think we all know that relationships lead to better quality care and better outcomes. So that's really the mission around, how we got started. So in our feeling that relationships should really keep kids in the medical home, as we all know, especially me still working in the pediatric emergency department, my child needs care. They can either kind of go to the random roulette wheel where they go to access an unknown doctor, have no trust or follow-up or continuity, or why couldn't we develop technology like Anytime Pediatrics to keep kids in the medical home and give them access to that local trusted care so they can go to their pediatrician or to your partners or specialists, have continuity, and have better care at lower costs. So we really want to be your virtual care partner. Many people think of telemedicine or virtual care as just a video visit. We look at it as a whole lot differently, and certainly starts with relationships. But in our integration layer of technology, we see remote patient monitoring, integration with the electronic medical record, business services, devices, and then really the big picture too is also about the patient experience. So how do we make it easy for patients, easy for clinicians? How do we keep them connected? How can families have multiple visit types and multiple practices, upload pictures, those kind of things? So when you think about virtual care, I would encourage you to think a whole lot more than just a simple video visit. Think about how you can really use it to stay engaged and stay connected with your patients. We often get asked why we're different from a pediatric standpoint and what's our differentiator. And I think, as a pediatrician and one who's passionate about the medical home, I think we know that relationships matter, and that's really important to what we do. So, gathering consent, having family profiles, families having multiple practices if they have specialists and the like. I think relationships are really key. I think the other thing is screenings. So screenings are important to what we add as far as partnerships and development. So vision and hearing, looking at ADHD and mental health, looking at specific pediatric partners. Prevention is also important. So behavioral health, nutrition, asthma, those are things that we look at, teenage privacy issues. And finally, access. I really am a big believer that access is key and that virtual care should really lead to better access to the medical home. So, 80% of after hours visits to nurse lines are pediatrics. There's worried parents wanting to connect with their pediatrician. So I think this is something that really can be helpful related to virtual care. So finally, I think we also think about this as being a virtual front door to the pediatric medical home and then to the network. So I listened in on the presentation this morning about how do we connect specialists and the medical home and how do we streamline efficiencies. I think it all starts with the medical home and being accessible. So in our platform, there really is an ability for the patient or the practice or for the patient to kind of knock on that front door, to enter it, be able to check in with the front desk, kind of mimic that in-person visit, enter the clinician waiting room. Once they come into an exam room, they're not only able to see the physician, but they can see a nurse, they can see a consultant, we can add an interpreter. So that when that visit occurs, you can have peripheral devices if you need it. You can see multiple clinicians. And I think and in the end, have a complete visit when you have your documentation, your length of a visit history, you're going to have your consent, you're going to have an after visit summary. So we really kind of gather all that information and kind of close the loop so those patients can see not only the medical home, but bring in the entirety of a visit virtually. So one of the unique things that we do is networking and routing. So again, in thinking about not only in your practice, being able to network within your physicians, but are there specialists or the urgent care or a partner on call? So we work with groups and large groups that actually share their virtual after hours. They can route patients within network. They can route them to the behavioral health specialist that's integrated. Lots of different opportunities, and really streamline the workflows to make it as simple and easy for you as possible. So you set your availability, you build your routing logic, and calls can be routed instantly, or they can be done manually as well with the front desk or with the physician. So really nice way to be able to integrate virtual care across your practice and across your network. So when we look at why users love it and why we have so many pediatricians on, and hopefully you watch the testimonial from our one of our customers or partners in Utah, I think the pediatric clinicians really like the multiple visit types. They like that it's their workflows and that they can adjust. I mean, if we've learned anything over the last several years, it's the fact that every pediatric practice is different. Every pediatrician is different. And so there's lots of variability in how you want to use that, a technology like virtual care. So we give you that flexibility to be able to do it. For the office staff, they get help with streamlining that front office. So built-in patient consent forms, ability to collect service payments and co-pays, actually able to chat live with patients and families. And we've now rolled out the ability for them to even start a visit and do a video visit. So if you wanted to incorporate a nurse triage, or the front desk, you can do that as well. And I think for patients and families, it's interesting. We hear a lot about how they like to access technology, and I think they're all different. So we've developed web, mobile, and native applications for them to use. About 85% of our visits are on the mobile apps. The families really seem to prefer that, even though we often hear that it's, some people are anxious about them having to download something. The apps give us a real unique ability, and it's something the families have asked for. We also have clinician apps as well. So connecting with your clinicians, making it easy, convenient. We want the medical home to be the first stop, not the last stop for their patients, for your patients. So we're working constantly to make things easier and easier, but also HIPAA compliant and secure. So we also know that many practices kind of grabbed onto something for a video visit in the midst of COVID and all the craziness. And I think as you think about things now, you recognize that this is an ongoing process, that there's continual innovation and support that's needed for virtual care, both for the practice and also for the patients. So we take great pride in kind of being a turnkey solution for everyone, so that you can have marketing support, live training, ongoing education, weekly tips and tricks, webinars, and so much more. And then data and reporting as well, so that we can give you ideas on how many visits you're doing, how many by practice, how many by patient, and the like. So, having all that data and data reporting is really important too. We just rolled out a data dashboard so you can pull out information as well. So the other thing about us, I think, is we're very pediatric focused within our partners. So these are our current partners, and we have many more in process. So between Chattis, Office Practicum, Clear Triage, Abridge is a new company that we signed with that does transcription of your discharge instructions to families and actually gives them a recorded message that they can review. Cultural Link, we've added translation services, interpretive services, and that ability to have multiple languages. And finally, Remy is an otoscope company that we're with a peripheral device that allows for you to look in ears and look in a throat and take pictures as well. So these are just the beginning of our partnerships as we continue to add pediatric technologies onto what we do from a virtual care standpoint. So as we look at innovation in our roadmap, we're really looking at it from just continually innovating. Every 3 weeks, we push out a new sprint. We're adding different forms and features. And so we're just coming out. We came out with the live Spanish interpreter. We're going to, within the next couple of weeks, have a Spanish version of our mobile and our web applications. We're having file and screen share, and then we're integrating in some of these additional technologies so that we can continue to be a cutting edge solution, but also really it's all driven by our pediatricians and pediatric feedback and how do we get them from point A to point B to point C, keep kids in the medical home, and how we can continue to innovate so that kids and families can connect with their pediatric medical home, and we can keep kids within network if you want to foster care through a specialist or through a local institution or local network partner. So we thought we would do that today. We certainly have plenty of opportunity to walk you through the technology and to do a live demo. If anyone that has interest, we'd be happy to get connected with you. Happy to talk more about what innovations that we have and are developing. But for the most part, I think it's, we thought we'd take the time today not to kind of walk through a technology overview, because to me, it's as much about kind of what's our background, how did we get here, and where do we want to go. And being partners with someone like Anytime Pediatrics, who shares your vision and passion towards getting kids connected to the medical home and making sure they're not going off to other places where they get lesser care, like I see in the emergency department when they go to non-pediatric retail clinics, urgent cares, and the like. So we hope to be able to partner with you. We're proud to sponsor this event. Big fans of the Utah AAP, and I hope that you all have a wonderful conference.